everybody, Manga Mike here. I just wanted to put out a quick video about how like one possible way that you can kind of create a story from start to finish and put it into comic panels and stuff like that. So this is the workflow that I currently use. So I start off with the story itself, and I'll quickly read it to you. It says, as Miku gets to the edge of the graveyard, he pulls out his watch and clicks the side. It emits a hologram with two wanted individuals, and it states that they're wanted for the prize, or sorry, it states what they're wanted for, the prize of their bounty, and their destination. Miku clicks his watch again, causing the holograms to disappear. He walks out of the graveyard, and he walks for such a distance that dawn becomes dusk. Sorry, I flip-flopped that when I wrote it down. But dawn becomes dusk, and he arrives at a small city and finds his destination. It's a building that has a somewhat cookie-cutter design, as if it were trying to hide in plain sight. As Miku touches the door handle, boom. I'm not going to say exactly what happens because I don't want to ruin that for you. But so as you can see, I've kind of circled and outlined some things, and I have some stuff over on the side, and I'm going to explain that. So for this story and for this contest, I have to get this story finished completely in 10 pages. So a piece of this is I have to figure out what things are absolutely necessary, and I have to figure out what things are not. So if we look at this boxed in section, right, this is a section that I edited heavily. So it says right now, sorry, it's coming out of focus. There it goes. So it says right now, like, he pulls out his watch, he clicks the side, it emits a hologram. He looks at the hologram, it has like all this stuff next to it, and then he clicks his watch again. That's at least like 3 or 4 panels right there, right? Or it could be. And it's just not necessary. If you look, I kind of wrote down on the side what things are really important within this first piece, right? I wanted you to know that Miku was like a bounty hunter of some sort, and it's a little more complicated than that, but if the audience got even that, I felt that that was good enough. I also wanted you to know that the people that he was after were highly dangerous, right? So those are the things in this section that I really wanted the reader to know. So how I was starting to think to myself, how do I make this shorter? So the answer, at least my answer to that, was just make it less complicated, right? So what I did was I took the danger part and I put it in the previous page, right? And that's important because it allows, one, in the first page, it allows the reader to understand what is going to be happening in this adventure that Miku is going on, right? The first page kind of highlighted both his emotional journey and the quest that he has to go on in order to conquer his emotional journey, right? So another thing that was super important was this piece down here, right? Obviously, this, or not obviously, I shouldn't say it that way, but this piece right here is best put after the page turns, right? So after he touches the door handle, I wanted that to be the very, very last panel of page 2. And then when you flip the page as the reader, you're seeing what's happening as a result of him touching the door handle, right? So in this, or sorry, by limiting this up here, I was able to put this piece where I wanted to, okay? So let's go and let's figure out how let's just kind of look at how I decided to kind of parse it out in my thumbnail, right? So the piece of him walking until, and he's walking so much that, daylight becomes nighttime almost. How did I decide to do that? Well, I decided to have him kind of in the middle of 2 panels, as you can see here. And I decided that while he was in the middle of these 2 panels, I could maybe fade the ink in the background, which I haven't done yet, obviously, but fade the ink into the background. And I showed that, the sun was setting in the back right here as a way to kind of show that time has changed a little bit. And I was hoping that it was enough for the reader to see him walking in between these two spots and have two establishing shots like this, so that you could see like, oh, he actually went from here to here, and we have a scene change, right? And then I put, you know, a little shot right here of him actually walking in the city, and then him coming upon this building, and him touching the door handle. And again, look, you can see I made it so that him touching the door handle was that last panel. So now I've created a little bit of suspense with this page turn, which I thought was extremely important. So this would be step 2 in the process, right? You go into thumbnailing. Now, step 3 is taking these thumbnails and creating this, right? Here, I can maybe focus it here. Creating a more refined version of your thumbnail, and this is just the rough, right? So this is what I'm going to be using to create detail on top of, and I'm going to be starting that this week. So as you can see, I have the first scene, which is the graveyard scene right here, and then him walking in the middle, and then the next scene is the city, right? And you can see again, I made sure to have the sun setting. I have like people and stuff just to like make it a little bit more of a city atmosphere. And then I have Miku walking to the destination, and throughout all of this, his watch is kind of chirping at him. You can see up here his watch is chirping. I don't think I have it here, but his watch chirps right here as well, and then right here. And I made the view that I had even more extreme ants eye view, because I wanted it to be, this building was like this huge daunting task that he had to face, and then his hand on the handle for the page turn. All right, so that is my process that I've been using to do this this 10-page short story. And just to review, I started off with my story. I took that story and I edited it down as much as I possibly could. Then after I edited it down, I decided to go ahead and do my thumbnail. This is a bigger thumbnail than most people would do, and I probably, to be completely honest, took too much time doing my thumbnails. But seeing as though this was my first like story that I was completing start to finish, I wanted to make my thumbnails as good as I possibly could to make my life a little bit easier when I go to the rough stage. And then again, number 3 is the rough, right? So now I have a really good foundation to build off of. It's important too, in your workflow, this will be my last point, not in the video. In your workflow, you want your roughs to be at a point in which you don't have to change anything as far as where things are placed. So when I'm drawing him and I'm adding details to Miku in this panel right here, I'm not making any major changes to his body or anything like that. I'm literally just going to be adding onto this, right? And that's super important. The same here and the same down here. When you're doing your detail, you just want to be free of mind and kind of being able to put details on top of a good foundation that you've already established, which is what I, at least in my current level of artwork, that's what I've done at this point. Okay, I really, really hope that this was helpful. I'll be sure to share some of my other stuff as I complete and as I submit my my manga. And again, I really, really do hope this was helpful. I appreciate you watching all the way through. I'm Manga Mike, and I'm out.